This is The Alternative Edge, home of KBVU podcasts.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Joshua Tigas, and thank you for listening to The Positive Point, a podcast where I try to shed some light into your world. One quick note before we get started. Next week will be the season finale of Season 1 for The Positive Point. I'll be taking the next couple of months off to reflect and hopefully get some content lined up for Season 2, so be paying attention towards the end of January for more information to be released regarding Season 2. But on this week's episode, I decided to reflect on the holiday that we're celebrating this week, Thanksgiving. 2020 has thrown us so many curveballs, but if there's one thing that I've learned from this podcast, it's that there's always a bright side to every situation. No matter how tough things may seem this year, there is so many beautiful things happening around us each and every day. For this episode, I decided to bring in a really close friend of mine from high school. Angela has always been extremely close with her faith life, and it has been such an inspiration to me watching that burning love shine through her. It has motivated me to become closer with my faith life, and in doing so, I've learned to be thankful for every joyous moment and even every obstacle that is thrown my way. Her outlook on life seems to be so easygoing because she has a trust in the greater plan, and that has allowed her to recognize the beauty of the world around us. I hope you enjoy this episode and are able to recognize that while this year might have been tough, there's still a whole lot to be thankful for. So, without further ado, allow yourself to escape from your life for a little while and enjoy this episode with Angela. Here we are, episode 12, and I can't believe we're nearing the end of the season, but Angela, thank you so much for agreeing to come on to the podcast and really reflect over this past year that we've been through.
Yes, I'm so happy to be here. I can't wait.
Yeah, so before we get into things, I just want to say it's so nice to see you again. It feels like it's been forever, so I'm really looking forward to having this conversation.
Me too. I can't wait.
Yeah, so first off, how has this semester been for you? Because I know for every college student, it's been a different experience. It's definitely been something new. So how's it been for you? Because I know this is your second year.
Yes, so this semester has been a roller coaster of emotions. I think would be a good way to put it. Of course, it was a little scary at first because we didn't know what to expect with the restrictions of COVID. And it definitely made it harder to have a community on our campus, which is a big thing that we love to support. But overall, our staff, our faculty, the students at BC, I go to Benedictine, just really wanted to make this place a home. And I've worked so hard to keep it that way, whether it's making sure everyone stays healthy or following the restriction guidelines. Of course, it's never perfect, but everyone wants to do their best and wants to stay here. So the semester itself has been really good. Everyone's a little stressed right now because the finals are coming up, but it's been really good and I'm very blessed.
Yeah, I think that's kind of been the general theme that I've heard from everyone, no matter what college they're going to, is how everyone's just kind of coming together just to stay there, just to get through the semester. Like, yes, it is stressful and we have had to adapt in certain ways, but everyone's just kind of working together. And that's kind of one point that we're going to be getting at later on is how people have come together this year.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so to start out this episode, obviously it's Thanksgiving because this week we celebrate Thanksgiving. And I thought, oh, what a perfect opportunity to reflect over this past year, reflect over 2020. So to start off, I think we have to go and dive right into it with March, right when this thing hit. And it seemed like the world kind of came to a halt.
Yeah, man, March for me, I was actually on spring break so I was home when everything went down. And I just remember all of my friends and I back at college were like, oh yeah, we'll see you in a week. And then it was like months after. And we're like, oh, I guess not. And it was a little frightening at first in a sense, and everyone was kind of panicking. I went back to college to get my stuff because I knew I wasn't going to be there for the rest of the semester, which was sad. But I also was so grateful that I was home at the time because I had my family there to support me and we were in it together. It just made it so much more tolerable and I think drew us together closer as a family.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I've mentioned that a little bit on earlier episodes this season, but that is one like the one thing that I have pulled out of 2020 is the power that family has in your lives. Well, one thing that I have jotted down here is in March when everything came to a stop, it gave me that chance to rest because I know one episode I said that I've always been busy with stuff, and this was really the first time that I took that time for myself to just sit back and really relax. But the way I did that was with my family. I've sat down on the couch with my mom in the evenings and stuff, and we'd flip on some Netflix shows and watch those together and stuff. So it was really building that family connection, those relationships that you have. And that's something that while it seemed like the world was falling apart, that's something in my life that was strengthened.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I do think it made like her priorities kind of straightened out a little bit. Kind of the reality of life is very short, and you got to appreciate the gifts that you've been given and family and like your friendships are huge factors and you don't realize the impact that they make, especially when you have all the time in the world. So
Yeah, I know looking back, that is some of the times that I think I'm going to cherish the most throughout the rest of my life is that time that I got to spend with my parents in particular. Because throughout high school, I know you know this as well as I do, how we were so involved with everything. It seems like I barely got the chance to sit down and have a meal with my parents. So, in a sense, it kind of seemed like that really the relationship was slipping a little bit, but I kind of hesitate to say that because I've always had a really strong relationship with my parents, but I never really took the chance to just dedicate my full time to them. And that's what I've taken the opportunity to do this year. Even with going off to college, I've gotten that new perspective of how influential they are to my lives and how much I actually need them.
yeah, no, that is really good. Especially when you're on your own, you don't realize, like, wow, it was really nice to be home.
Yeah, absolutely. But if we get looking towards this past summer that we went through, obviously, like with everything this whole year, everything's been different. But one thing that I have seen just as an outsider looking in on different things that have been going on in the world is how people have bonded together. It seems like to me that people have really come together in ways that I've never seen before. And I just think that's so beautiful to see, especially during what we're experiencing.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Through this like extraordinary time, it like brought like the fruitfulness of like community to a whole new level that we've never seen before because no one has really experienced this before. At least we haven't, our generation. It just really made people realize we are living in one community, one society, and it's a team effort and not just me, myself, and I, and then you doing your own thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't matter what race, gender, country you come from. We are all one people in this world together and stuff. And if we pull together, we can do miraculous things like what we've seen this year. I know I've mentioned this earlier too, but how companies have gone away from producing their typical products, like when this whole COVID pandemic hit, and switched over to hand sanitizers and producing masks and everything for people
Mhm.
to use for the greater good of everyone. That's just one thing that I've recognized this year that I hope stays around forever is people working for the greater good of others.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's been so many people that just like come out of the woodworks, like out of randomly, like nowhere. They're just like, yeah, I'll help. And I'm like, where did you come from? But thank you, sort of a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this all comes back to our perseverance aspect, how we've taken on the challenges that have been dealt to us, but persevere through them and just adapt to the situations because we all have one common goal.
Yeah, perseverance is such a great topic too.
Yeah.
um, it really is about looking up, like always moving forward, pursuing the good.
Yeah, so if we continue on throughout the year, obviously college started up here in around August for most people. And I think the one word to sum up this semester would be adaptation. Having
Mm,
to,
yep.
having to overcome everything that is thrown our way and really just kind of go with the flow because it seems like on a day-to-day basis things could be changing.
No, definitely. Every day is a new day, like a different day in itself. And then when you add something like a pandemic to it, like pandemic, it just kind of like throws in another another thing to go around.
Yeah, absolutely. But having that motivation to chase your dreams, especially given these easy circumstances that we have to give up through all these hard times, it is so easy just to give up and say, I'm done. But being able to adapt, having that perseverance, and using your dreams, what you set out to do as motivation, is what will allow you to get through this and accomplish what you set out to do, accomplish your dreams.
Yeah, no, that is really good.
Yeah, so I think that's the one thing that I've taken away this year. I know I mentioned earlier with my family how important they are, but also how much of a blessing challenges are. I know that sounds kind of silly to say, but when you think about it, it's really through those challenges how we grow into the people that we are today.
No, that is truth. It your character is built upon like your experiences in life, and I think that definitely goes through the hardships. I think that's where your character is built the most.
Yeah, absolutely. It all boils down to the challenges that we endure, and whether it's challenges within your family, challenges within your studies, your academics, or whatnot. It's what builds you into who you are, and using those challenges as stepping stones, not only to get as a better person, but to get and achieve those dreams that you set out to do. Just using those challenges. I know it sounds really weird how challenges are a blessing in our lives because for some weird reason we think that everything's supposed to be smooth and go perfectly when in reality that rarely happens.
Yeah, no. I mean, if you really want to think about it, would life be worth living if we didn't like struggle sometimes, you know? It just I don't know. It's a like food for thought sort of a thing. If I didn't go through this, would I see things the same way, you know? Would I be the same person I am?
Yeah, absolutely. It is through those challenges and those hardships that we endure that we turn into who we are and everything. So it all comes back down to being thankful. And I know like going through those challenges when they're actually happening could be very hard to be thankful for them. But once you get through them and reflect back, I think that's when people really see the reasoning behind everything.
I think that is very true. I think the things like being thankful brings like a sense of hope, a hope for something more and like better. Whether you're having the worst day ever, or you're stuck at home, or just having something horrible going on in your life, just remembering that the good that has still come from your experiences in the life you've lived just brings a sense of like hope for the future and like that that perseverance to keep moving forward, taking that next step in hope.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you brought up hope and stuff because that is what Thanksgiving does, at least for me. I know when I go through some hard times, I'm always thinking, oh, why is this happening? Why can't it just be perfect? But when I think back, it's like, oh, that's why that happened. That's that. Then I can use that to help me in the future. And when I get through those challenging times, I'm like, okay, now I can get through whatever comes next and stuff. It gives me that little extra boost to keep going and hope for like an optimistic future.
Yeah, no, I think when you experience one hardship and then you're able to overcome it and like keep moving forward, it makes the next hardship more tolerable. Like it builds you up in a sense. It becomes like stepping stones that just gets you higher and higher.
Absolutely. Then it gets to a point where we feel like we can accomplish anything that is thrown our way. And yes, people can do that. People that are listening right now, you can accomplish anything that is thrown your way. It just comes back down to the mentality that you have taking it on.
Yeah, all things are possible.
Yeah, so I know for you, your faith life has been extremely important to you. And you mentioned that You're at Benedictine College right now. And I just want to say that from me, like being around you a lot and stuff, that has been very inspirational to me and has really motivated me to get in touch with mind more. So
Mm.
I think being thankful often comes from having that strong faith life too, and putting that trust in the greater plan that God has put out for you.
That is very true. Actually, I can't wait to share my quote with you. Yeah, so my faith is very important to me. I don't think I'd be able to go through some of the things in life if I didn't have my faith life in it. It makes the tough days more able to overcome, in that it's not about me, but it's something greater than myself. And that no matter how I feel, whether about myself or my situation, that like there is something better to come. And for me, like that's how I'm able to be even more thankful, is because I know that there is good even if I can't see it in the moment. And just being able to acknowledge that changes your whole mindset and view of life in general.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it offers that reassurance when we go through those tough times, like we were just talking about, all the challenges. It gives you that reassurance and that kind of extra hand to help you along.
Very much a guiding hand, sometimes a push.
Yeah. But using your faith life, to anyone listening, I don't know if you have a strong faith life or whatnot, but I know for me personally, my faith is something that's very important to me. And it is something that I lean back on a lot because of everything that I have to endure. And I know that there is a greater plan. And eventually, I'm going to end up wherever God wants me to be.
No, that is very good. Yeah, Jesus is my backbone. I don't think I would be able to go through a lot of the things that I would go through or have gone through if I didn't have that to kind of like lean back on to keep me standing and to keep moving forward. So that is really good.
And to kind of wrap this into the present person with how we can use this to help today, I think it's just simply being thankful for everything that you go through. Like, yes, I know this year has been a heck of a year, but in some sense, it can be one of the greatest years that we're ever going to go through because of how much we've been able to grow throughout it. So sometimes it can be hard, but you have to see that you can learn through every experience you go through. And sometimes reflecting back makes you thankful for those hard times that you've had to experience.
No, that is so good. I loved everything you just said right there. Yeah, it being thankful for just all of it, really just like especially this past year, sometimes it's just acknowledging the small things that end up adding to bigger things, and then your whole perspective just changes, like wow, life is great, even though I'm like really from another perspective someone be like it sounds horrible, but it's really not, at least to you. And like you said, it's a lot of your mental perspective on it, and being thankful allows you to show that gratitude of what you have and what you will receive or what is to come, and being that hopeful in that.
But yeah, like you said, even the little things, like we woke up today,
Mm.
we were able to breathe, go around and walk, go, and we're able to face these challenges. Some people don't have that opportunity. So, just like you said, being thankful for those little things, and then eventually that accumulates into really this whole new perspective, like you said. And I love that you brought that up because it is so true. Oftentimes in our lives, we overlook all those little blessings that have always been there, and we think they're always going to be there, but really we're blessed every single day just for the simple fact of being able to wake up.
Oh, that was so good. I love that. Yeah, just living itself is like a gift, and we should cherish that too. It's just, it's beautiful.
So to kind of wrap up this whole episode, to end it into one, I got to ask you, I know you hinted at it earlier, you were eager to share. So what is your favorite quote?
Man, okay. I love so many quotes, but this is the quote that I chose because I think it really emphasized the importance, I think, of Thanksgiving and everything that goes along with it. And being that faith is very important to me. It's a quote from the Bible, a verse from the Bible. It's First Thessalonians chapter 5, 16 through 18. And it says, "Rejoice always, Pray without ceasing, and in all circumstances give thanks, for this is the will of God for you in Christ Jesus. Yeah.
That is
um,
a very fitting quote for Thanksgiving. And yeah,
yeah, I think to rejoice, to pray, and to give thanks, those three, they all correspond together, and you need them all to kind of live it out fully.
absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So thank you for sharing that. And also, thank you for coming on, sharing how just simply being thankful for the little things, for all the challenges we endure, for this year in a whole, as crazy as it may seem. But yeah, thank you for coming on to this episode, Angela. And I can't wait to see you again and catch up some more.
Yes, I'm so thankful that you let me do this. I'm so excited that this happened, and I'm so glad I got to see you. It was just very joyful. I'm thankful. Just continuing on the theme, I'm very thankful.
I think we've all gotten wrapped up in the thought that 2020 has been the worst year of our lives. For many of us, that's probably true. But that conversation helps me to realize that I have to be thankful for even the toughest times that life throws at me. So that has to be the positive point of the podcast for this episode. To be thankful. So many times we get caught up in the mindset that challenges or hardships are the worst things that can happen to us, when in reality, I believe they're some of the best things that can happen to us. It's by growing through challenges that we're able to grow as people. Take time to step back and be thankful for all of those struggles you've gone through, and even the ones you're currently experiencing. But most importantly, don't forget to be thankful for the people who are always right by your side. This week, we celebrate the very fact of being thankful for the food on the table, the loved ones to hug, and even the challenges we've endured. Take today as an opportunity to step back and be thankful for all of these things in your life, because they are what make you, you. Sit down and eat an extra slice of turkey because you've earned this place on the earth, and you have a reason for being here. Even the biggest obstacles that are thrown our way can be used as the biggest stepping stones to achieve our dreams. So embrace whatever's thrown your way, whether it's a traffic jam or a worldwide pandemic. Look at every situation as an opportunity to get better. Our struggles and challenges in life are what make us who we are. Without them, we wouldn't be able to accomplish our dreams. So be thankful for the life that the Lord has given you and embrace every opportunity. Don't view challenges as roadblocks. Look at them as opportunities to get better. Sometimes all we need in life is the perspective to take these challenges and turn them into steps on our path. Times are going to get tough. There's no denying that. And it's going to be very challenging to be thankful for certain things, but it all comes back to growing. We can't just flip a switch and be thankful for everything. Some things are going to be easier than others, but I assure you that everything will fit into place in the end. Your life isn't falling apart, it's falling into place. Be thankful for all of the joys and struggles, because they're what shape us into the people we are today. Take today as a chance to say thank you. This week, I challenge you to do exactly that. Say thank you. Whether it's to God or one of your loved ones, take a moment to reflect over the past year and see how you have grown. Each and every one of us has had to grow in one way or another through this pandemic. So take today as an opportunity to reflect and be thankful for everything you have experienced. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. And as always, feel free to DM me on Twitter at thepositivepoi2. That's the positive POI 2. Or Instagram at thepositivepoint_podcast. Or send an email to thepositivepointpodcast@gmail.com to share a random act of kindness or uplifting deed that you did for someone else, or they did for you. Or maybe it's something you saw someone else do for another person. Reach out to me and share the story. Who knows? Maybe you will be the next positive point of the podcast. Until next time, this is Joshua Tigas. And remember, keep it positive.